What cost under $100 benefits your travel life for 5 years and is the #1 travel tip that I tell all of my friends when they get into domestic travel. TSA PreCheck. What's up? My name is Katelyn. I'm with the Gravel team, and today we're talking about TSA PreCheck and what I've experienced over the past 5 years of using it all throughout the US when I'm going on international trips, before I leave and actually depart the US, and if after 5 years of use, if I highly recommend it or if it's a pass. So on TSA.gov, you're going to find out the TSA PreCheck actually costs $78 to sign up for, and when you renew it, it's $70. Now, $78 divided by 5 years is $15.60 per year. So as you can tell, it's an incredibly cheap subscription to proving to the government that you are a safe human being to get on airplanes. And they're basically gonna do a background check. So what happens throughout the whole process is you apply online, where you get given a center where you can go to apply in person, which takes about 10 minutes, 10 to 20, depending on where you're at and how busy it is. Typically, Staples will be a pretty often place for you to go and enroll. They're gonna take your fingerprints, they're gonna ask you some questions, and then after that interview, you're gonna be given either your acceptance or your denial of TSA PreCheck, and then you'll be given your known traveler number, which you typically get in 3 to 5 days. It also can take up to 60 days according to the TSA website. In my experience, I've gotten it within the 3 to 5 day window from when I applied for it the first time 5 years ago, all the way up to just a few weeks ago when I renewed it and I got the KTN number reapproved within literally like a day or two. So the longest part of the process is truly going to be going online and actually applying for it. Once you go in person, all of that, it's super, super easy, and it's honestly a little too easy. I don't really know what they're doing, but I guess a background check must be saying a lot for them to feel so confident. Anyways, we'll leave that to them. So when it's time to get on a flight and you're scheduling your flight on whatever website, you're going to input your KTN, or your known traveler number, within when you're purchasing your ticket. This KTN is what will give you the TSA PreCheck symbol on your ticket, which when you approach the TSA PreCheck line, they're gonna ask to see that ticket and they'll see the TSA PreCheck symbol, and that's how they let you into the line. And then you're gonna go through the line and you're going to have the quickest experience with TSA you've ever had. Why? Because you don't need to take your shoes off, you don't need to take your electronics out of your bag, your liquids can stay inside of your carry-on luggage or inside of your backpack, wherever it is. Sometimes you'll need to take the food out that you're bringing in because a lot of times those set off the sensors. It really depends, but I've gotten through TSA PreCheck literally within 1 minute. I've also gotten through TSA PreCheck in one of the longer times within about 15, 16 minutes. It depends which airport you're in the US, whether it's international or domestic. Where I live, it's a domestic airport, so it often takes me about 1 minute and up to 5 minutes. Whereas in an international airport recently, it took me about 15 minutes, which felt extremely long. So something fun I recently did was a test within the JFK Airport of TSA PreCheck versus normal TSA on a Saturday at 2 p.m. in their peak hours. And as you can see in the video, it took me 14 minutes to get through, and it took my husband 31 minutes. So that's a 16-minute difference, about 16, 17-minute difference. And for me, that is literally the difference of the boarding doors closing. I don't always get to the airport super last minute. I try not to, but I also don't like getting there too early. You never know what's gonna happen to you on your way to the airport, right? You could get stuck in bumper to bumper traffic, and suddenly those 15 minutes mean getting on a plane or missing it entirely. And TSA Pre just really gives you that, security and confidence of like, even if I'm running late, I know it's not gonna be more than like 10 at max 15 minutes to get through TSA Pre. Typically it's like 5 to 10 minutes. It's kind of like the experience if you ever fly business class. It's very hard to fly economy again because you felt what it was like to stretch out your legs, to lay flat. And then you go back to the economy life, or when you have, let's say, the long wait time of TSA Pre of 15 minutes, whereas, in the normal TSA line, 15 minutes is totally normal. That seems like, oh, I'm getting through quickly. On the TSA website, they claim that it typically takes under 10 minutes, and honestly, over the past 5 years of using it, I have found that to be completely true. Something really cool with TSA PreCheck is if you have children, they can actually just come with you in the TSA PreCheck line without having gone through any of the background check or anything like that to get their own TSA PreCheck number, so that's really helpful for parents. If you are a child traveling alone routinely, they recommend that you sign up for the program entirely on your own. One little tip is if you get married or if you change your name, you are going to have to notify basically the TSA government website about your PreCheck number because they're going to need to update that. What happened for about maybe 3 months is I was flying and my name that's in the system wasn't attached to the name that I was basically booking my tickets with. And so my TSA Pre wasn't showing up on any of my flights despite me putting in my KTN number. They only will allow it if the names perfectly match, which obviously makes sense for security reasons. So all I had to do was email them about it, and within like a few days, I had my name updated and everything was taken care of. So that was also really helpful. I've honestly had a great experience with the updating my name, renewal process, and the original appointment that I took in the first place. I will tell you, for those 3 months where my name wasn't changed in the system and I had to go in the normal line, it was horrible. I literally was just watching the TSA Pre people just slide through, go through so effortlessly, and then being in 20 to 30 minute typical TSA lines, which means when you get to the front, you have to do all the things that you got used to not doing for 5 years, which is taking off your shoes, taking your laptop out of your bag, taking all electronics out of your bag, having a lot higher chance that they're going to flag the liquids in your carry-on if you didn't take them out or put them in the right spot. Another really cool thing that sets TSA PreCheck above Clear and also a little bit different than global entry is that it is existing in 200 airports within the US. And as for Clear, it's only in about 50 airports. I actually know a few TSA PreCheck people who have signed up for Clear because Clear is a little bit faster in some cases, but I found that it's by minutes. So for me, getting the 150 plus airports that are included within TSA Pre is a lot more valuable than the only 50 airports that are included within Clear. Of course, that is expanding, but that is something to keep in mind depending on where you're traveling to make sure that Clear is even a part of the airports you're going in and out of. I just cannot get over the fact of how cheap TSA PreCheck is. And I think it's one of those things where most people think it's gonna be a headache to do, so they just don't do it. But then once you do it, you realize, oh, that wasn't a headache. That was actually just really easy, and I'm so glad I did it. And then you get 5 years of benefits, and you can renew it if you want to. For myself, I did renew it because I do find it extremely, extremely useful and totally worth the money. I mean, $70, $78 upon your first application is unbelievably cheap, and I just can't imagine traveling without it now that I've had it for so long. So I hope these little facts and opinions were helpful about TSA PreCheck. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments. And we're just so excited as a travel enthusiast community to be able to share tips and tricks and things we've found over the years as we've traveled, and also learn from you guys, a part of our community. So we'll see you in the next one. Peace.